concept to get. So just quickly on a couple of strategies that you might be able to use at home. The first one, self-talk, then parallel talk, wait and see, recasting and modeling. Wait and see, we're not saying not doing anything, I'll tell you what I mean by that. So self-talk is when you talk about what you are doing, or what you're seeing, or what you're hearing, and what you're eating, and what you're touching, and what you're thinking, and what you're feeling, all the time, okay? So I'm washing the dishes, now I'm drying, all done. So you really just verbalize everything that you do, okay? It gets, as speech therapists, we do this so often. I remember one of my lecturers said her partner picked her up at the end of the day and she said, "You're opening the door and you're closing the door." That's how it gets. It really gets as bad as that. And then parallel talk is where you talk about what your child is doing. So you're giving them all the language to describe what they're doing, what they're seeing, what they're hearing. I really don't like it when we go, "What's that?" for a plane, right, up in the sky. What is it, a test? Right? So I go, instead, rather go, "Oh, look, I hear something. Do you hear a plane? I hear a plane. That looks like a really big plane." Why not give language for free? It's not a test, we're trying to teach them. But we often as adults automatically go to questions. It's really hard not to ask lots of questions. Really hard. It took me a year as a qualified speech and language therapist just to really eradicate a little bit, because we do too much of questions. Who's that? What's that? What are they doing? Right? It's more like, I wonder. What are they doing? I don't know. And then you see them going, "Oh, I know, I'm a teacher, I'll tell you." And they're more likely to jump in. Or, "I see it," and then leave in the blank, let them fill it in. It's so much easier when we do it that way. So you want to really talk about what they're doing. But a couple of things to just keep in mind. Use age-appropriate language and phrases. It's not really a running commentary. You're not like a sports commentator, but you want to really talk about what they're doing, but make it a rich language experience, right? So you pause and you give an opportunity for them to say something, and it's really about looking at what they're interested in. Okay, so if they're playing with the tractor, right? Talk about the tractor, and don't talk about what you see out of the window. Because for a child, that's what they're focused on, especially something in their hands. I tend to have kids take things out of their hands when I'm talking with them, because they're so focused on what's in their hand, I can forget getting their attention. So I move it away, show them, and then once I've done the talking, I give it to them. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. The wait and see is where you just say something and you wait, right? So if we think about that plane again, look! If you have to count to 5 elephants, 1 elephant, 2 elephant, 3, do that. For kids who have attention difficulties, I do a shorter burst of it. For them, I might do 2 full seconds, okay? And then you wait with anticipation. So you do the, right? And very often, when I do this, I might go, we do a click, clap, trap or something like that. So we go ready, steady, and the parent goes, go! And I'm like, that's great, but see how great this worked? Maybe next time we can have the child give it a go. So every time I'm ready, steady, go! And after a few times, it really works. There's one kid where I was assessing him at age 3. He had autism, and I remember doing that correctively because I want to see how does he show choices, how does he reach for the cars, and when I model, what happens. So we did a couple of goes down the track, and then we went ready, steady, and he went go, and it was his first word ever. So one was in tears, but it just shows sometimes when it's something that's really fun, and you do anticipation and you just kind of make it interesting, kids can have a lot to say. And then there's a couple of, we have some Facebook closed groups that are really a great way for looking at some of the videos on this, on how to use it, because I talk about it a little bit more detail. There's the Let's Talk Kids speech, that's a closed group for parents and staff who want to just, in a safe environment, kind of talk about speech, and where we talk a little bit about this modelling, and then we'll have a closed group where we have all the learning modules, and modelling is actually one of the larger modules, because the research shows to us if we model language, we guaranteed help the child's language development. Okay, so with modelling, you really want to say and show the child what to say or do. So you say it like they would. Okay, so like if you enter a classroom, you see the teacher and you say, "Good morning, Miss Smith," and then you go, "What do you say to Miss Smith?" And it's just, "Good morning, Miss Smith," because you just showed them how to do that. Another way you can see that is you want to go for about 12 repetitions, or 12 to 18 repetitions a minute of a new word. Okay, so let's say they don't know plane. Okay, and you go, "Oh, look at the plane. Oh, I like planes. Planes make a lovely noise. We go on a holiday on a plane. We can go plane, 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 plane." That's cheating, but it's allowed. As long as, because what's the chance that a kid will know the word plane if you do that? Pretty good, okay? Because if you think about it, how many times do you think a kid needs to hear a word before they say it? If you had to take a random guess. At least, yes. 100 is pretty close to it. Swear words? No. That's pretty fast. I actually did an experiment with my own, and I remembered, "Oh, why not experiment with your own kid?" And I think he said something as innocent as butterfly, and went, "Oh!" And he said it over and over again. And I thought, right, okay. And also, if we think about speech development, which word usually comes first, mommy or daddy?
Daddy.
Daddy.
Yeah.
And usually I ask a speech therapist and I go, "It's because the D develops before the M." And I went to hubby, "Do you know what? Let's experiment. My hypothesis is that daddies don't talk about mummies enough. We always say, Daddy's going to do this, there's Daddy, see Daddy, 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 Daddy." So I asked hubby, "So please model mummy, 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 mummy." So first word was hi, right? And I think the next one was banana, and the third one was mummy. Daddy was right down. I didn't do a great job. I didn't do great science, but at least Daddy was in there. Okay, but it shows if dads model the word mummy more, kids will say it more. So it's really about how much modeling we do. So you want to really emphasize words you want to draw their attention to. So you can model a word or a language concept like that. So if they said duck for rabbit, so we'd want to model rabbit as much as possible. So we're going to talk about a rabbit 12 to 18 times a minute. All kind of fun things and fun facts about a rabbit. We're going to sound demented, but it works. But we don't want to interrupt the child, and we don't want to interrupt the flow in conversation. So if they're really excited about it, we're not going to go, "Hold on a second, I want 12 to 18 opportunities here to talk about this rabbit." So just be careful that you don't interrupt that flow, but sometimes the conversation can be that kind of modelling. So you can switch that on. I wanted to just show you, this was Bas when he was about 2 to 3, okay? He had some speech errors so you can hear. He was fronting like crazy. Fronting is when you say a back sound to the front, like dut for duck, right? This happened. And I was modelling language for him at the time. I wasn't really modelling how to pronounce the word, and I was trying to talk about bird, and I was kind of following his lead as he was doing the activity. So let's have a look. Another one. Bird. No bird. No bird. Oh, poor bird.
Moving.
Yeah, that's a little car.
Bye-bye, Tom.
Bye-bye, car. Car. Another present. Bird.
No!
A koala. So I said bird 5 times, and then he said, "Another present. Who's going to get it?"
What?
The bird. Ooh. Thank you, said the bird. It's a little duck.
Bye-bye, Dot.
Bye-bye, duck for duck, yeah. Who's going to be opening that one?
But.
The birds. So it would have interrupted the flow of conversation if I went, "Yes, that's duck." the duck is doing that, because at the moment we're just talking about what's happening, and I'm more interested in modeling, oh, great freeze frame, right? I'm just modeling language, okay? Recasting is a little bit different. So recasting is when you have that gentle correction, like rabbit for rabbit, duck for duck, and we want to correct it, but we don't want to point out the error. Okay, and that's when you use the exact same thing. You repeat it lots of times, but you're going to talk about pronouncing it correctly. So if they say tat instead of cat, you can say, oh, you see a big cat. I love cats. I love big cats and little cats. I think my favorite cats are black cats. Did I saw a mummy cat, a daddy cat, see how we're cheating? A brother cat, a sister cat, and a granny cat. You can make all kinds of nonsense up. That's perfectly fine. But see how many reiterations you can get with that, because just going cat once is not enough. We want to do it lots and lots of times, but that depends on choosing your battles and what you want to work on. So for recasting a language, right? So if a child says, I go to the shop, you can say, yes, you went to the shop, sweet shop, yesterday. So you're expanding, but you're also correcting that grammar error. If they say thing or it, that's really not a good thing. This, that, there, here is too non-specific. We want to, if they say, can I have it? You can say, can you have the crayons? So you use those specific words. That yolk over there is not good enough. Okay, lots of dads use it. And I have to sometimes call them and going, what? What over where? I usually pretend I don't understand, especially with kids when they express something like that, so that they can clarify a little bit. And don't say, you say, or say it, okay? It's the only exception is if the child says me, and then you say I, yeah? But every other time, if you can say, me go to school, you could say, you say I go to school. It's just because the me and I difference. But for any other language concept, you're not going to say it, you're just going to repeat the sentence as it was before.